Hello and welcome to another Workbench Wednesday, my chronicles of hobby goodness, what I've been getting up to over the past 7 days. This might be a short video, though I do love the sound of my own voice, so I can turn even the shortest videos into a long video. But this may be a short one because I spent this weekend away at an event. I played 4 fantastic games of War Machine at the Boca Brawl and had a brawlingly good time. It would have been 5 games. Unfortunately, our team got the bye in one round, but it was still absolutely fantastic playing in a team event. Is some of the most fun I've had playing tabletop wargaming for many, many years. And the Boca Brawl is one of the premier War Machine events in North America. So with that being said, it means I didn't have as much time to hobby. So we're going to look at the last bit of airbrushing I did before I went. Some new stuff I had a friend hook me up with, and then a new painted model. So exciting stuff to come in this Workbench Wednesday. I am going to take the time now to say, if you're enjoying this video or any of our other videos, please consider giving this video a like. And if you're new here or a returning viewer who has yet to subscribe, then please click that subscribe button. Leave me a comment. I do love to hear from everyone, and I try and get back to every single one of them. These simple free actions really do help the growth of the channel and enable us to share our content with a wider viewing audience. I'm also going to say now, if you would like to go that extra mile, that extra brush stroke perhaps, then consider supporting the channel in a financial way. You can do that in one of 2 ways. You can support us on Patreon by following the link in the description. If you do that, there are some bonus Lord of the Rings podcast episodes, as well as you can get some custom Gondor calls for Ale Dice. Or, if you would rather, you can support us here and become a YouTube channel member. Both our Patreons and our channel members are the lifeblood of the channel. They enable us to make these videos and to keep the dice rolling, as we say in our battle reports. So I just want to take this moment as well to say thank you so much to all our channel members, past, present, and future, and our Patreons. We really, really appreciate you. Your financial support is unbelievably appreciated and absolutely never expected. So now that I've made this video intro longer than it necessarily needs to be, let's look at some models. First up, we've got the last remaining units that I had ready, and they were in my army lists, but hadn't been airbrushed. So they were airbrushed last Thursday. I didn't do any hobbying on Friday because I had to work and then drive to the event. And then I played Saturday and Sunday. So this is the last of last week's work. I'll quickly go over how I did it. So the base color was a mix of scale 75 black leather and scale 75 brown Dubai. Then it was a airbrush of brown Dubai. And then I mixed in beige red into that and did the sort of skin pink colors that you can see. So faces, arms, bit of the back, and some inner thighs, and some on the legs. Then, as a final airbrush, I did pure red beige. That's it. It's super easy. The next steps are going to be glazing with some contrast paints and a little bit of highlighting. We've got our unit of commandos here. You can take my advice as the best in faction out of 155 people at the Boca Brawl with the Thornfall Alliance. Basically, I know what I'm talking about. Helps to be the only person playing the army, but we won't talk about that. Still came in 31st place, and went 3-1. Well, 3-1, technically 4-1, because I had to buy, and that counts as a win. But Commandos, fantastic. Brigands, not sold on. The situation where in my games, we're going to turn this episode longer by sort of giving you a battle report style episode for War Machine. There was one situation in the game that my Brigands were fantastic. and that was only because they were dug in, and only because my opponent, who was trying to shoot me to death with Alistair Kane, he was in range for brigands, but because they were he failed an assassination run. He was trying to shoot something to bounce away. The brigands were dug in, so he still needed 9s, I think. No, 8s. He needed 8s, so he decided not to go for them as well, because he just failed to roll 3 8s in a row. So that was the only time they were truly great. Which is not really a selling point, because most of the other things could have done that too. Commandos, fantastic. Brigands, we'll see. I'll play around with them a little bit more, but perhaps they will be replaced with that beautiful segue, Sam, the new stuff that I have recently gotten. Oh yes, here they are, the Chain Belchers. While I was away playing games and having a good time, my good friend Brian of Angry Monkey Gaming on Instagram, if you're interested in seeing some of his work. He doesn't post often, but when he does, it is quite nice. He was slaving away printing me these Chain Belchers. The unit released, I believe it was on Friday, so he printed them up for me over the weekend, and I was able to pick them up on Monday and get them on their bases cleaned up. I am really excited to try these guys out. I think they look way cooler in person than the pictures or renderings do. I saw a couple of the Adepticon, but it's sort of hard to see in the cases. I do wish the harpoon, I think it is, grapple, was less square and boxy. I think it's a little bit weird, or just maybe had a little more detail, like the way it finishes up, but cool nonetheless. I think this is my favorite pose, sort of rearing up, come at me. Yeah, I think they look really, really rad. And I'm excited to use them, and they are a straight swap for that unit of brigands with the warlord unit attachment if I want it, so makes trying them out fairly easy, I think. The other unit is exactly the same, with the exception of, unfortunately, there was a printing issue with this guy. You can see he's lost the top of his harpoon, but I am up to the task of fixing that with either sculpting or basically I can convert it up. I also may, given that I have to do that, we may go for some arm swaps. We'll see, just make them slightly different. I've got them. I got them anyway. I can always sling some more resin Brian's way and get him to print me another set if the conversions don't work out. But for now, I am super duper excited to try these guys out. I may even get a game this very evening with them. So I got to do some rocks on their bases and get them in an airbrushed state as well, because I prefer having some amount of paint on my models. And now, the final piece of this video, we're going to look at the one model I managed to get painted after the Boca Brawl. And here he is, Latursis, all painted up. I decided I really enjoy painting the infantry for a lot of my armies, so I end up playing with mostly painted infantry and no painted warjacks or warbeasts, so I decided I need to sort of swap back and forth. I finished that unit of slaughterhouses. Better get a warbeast painted. So I thought, who better than Latursis to paint first? The new character beast who has been in every single one of my armies thus far, and I am very pleased with him. This weird backpack thing he's got was a little bit, I'm not quite sure what this material is supposed to be. I thought it was a big metal drum at first, but it had all this stitching on it, and so it's definitely an organic material. Perhaps it's supposed to be skin, but I decided to go with leather. He's got, some goodies he's been storing in there. Oh look, I've been handling him. I rubbed off some of the paint on the bones, which is one of the things I'm not super pleased with. The bones in his backpack. I did them by using scale 75 Gobi brown and then adding in white. And I like the color. I just think that and I did the tusks in the same way, so I think they maybe need to be done differently from the tusks. So I might go back and touch those or change them, and definitely I'll touch those bits up. But overall, I'm really pleased with how he came out. I'm especially pleased with, it might not really show in the video, it's kind of hard to see, but up like under his arm and at the bottom of his belly and stuff, there's a subtle greenish tint to the skin, which I did by taking that red beige and adding in some blue green to it. It sort of makes a nasty green gray and looks really good for tinting skin colors. But yeah, I'm really pleased with how he came out. I think when the painted models are all set side by side right now, they look really cool. And again, I know I said it in the last video, but if you haven't watched it, I'm really pleased with how this army looks. And I think seeing the more models I add to it and get painted, the sort of, obviously the cooler it looks, but the happier I am with the decision for the desert basing and all of that stuff. So there we have it, Latursis fully painted, 2 units of chain belchers built or cleaned up and stuck on bases, and a unit of Pharaoh Commandos and Pharaoh Brigands airbrushed. Not the most productive week I've had, but definitely not a bad week either. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you're enjoying seeing my progress on some War Machine models. I'll be back next week with another Workbench Wednesday.